Hey, guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a story of what if Naruto trained seriously, after the Sasuke retrieval arc. After Naruto and Sasuke's fight at the Valley of the End, Naruto has an epiphany, and everything he thought about changes. Now during his training trip with Jiraya, the blonde trains like crazy, returning to the village, 2.5 years later, as a new shinobi. One who vows to protect the village even if it costs his life. However, those who knew his usual nature wished he didn't change. Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, it means a lot to me, and check the description for the creator of this great fanfic. Now let's start the story. Author note: hi there folks, and welcome to another chapter of regret. Indeed, the choices from last chapter made everything different, huh? The best part of it all was that as far as the Uchiha's fight was concerned, I changed very little about what really happened. Instead of Sasuke fighting Itachi first and then hearing the truth from Tobi, Sasuke heard the truth first, thus giving him a different perspective when facing Itachi after hearing the truth. Because of this change in events, Sasuke will be making different choices, especially regarding his alliances from now on. Also, with Naruto getting access to his parents' house and extensive library of knowledge, which techniques will he incorporate to his repertoire, aside from Kushina's chakra chains? Perhaps new element manipulation exercises to further increase the strength behind his techniques, or even seals to make his staff become harder than steel. Oh my god, I am getting excited. Let us begin. Chapter 22 Long Lost Friend Beta. Kyuubi 123. Tobi and Zetsu tried searching everywhere for Sasuke's whereabouts, but to no avail. Both were frustrated, because they happened to be able to find everyone everywhere. Zetsu would use his special ability to travel below ground and find his prey. Tobi's Sharingan allowed him to shift time and space on himself, allowing him to be in one place 1 second and the other second in another place. Despite it all, Sasuke's location still eluded them. Tobi knew the young Uchiha to be quite fast on his feet, but as far as Tobi was concerned, Sasuke could be the Yondaime Hokage in disguise and it would not matter. For some reason, Sasuke managed to find some place throughout the elemental nations that they could not find. Tobi considered using his knowledge on the kid's way of thinking, but realized that he had only found Sasuke, because he was busy fighting against the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Sasuke, thus, could be anywhere right now. With Naruto Naruto and Yugo remained a few minutes simply staring at the crib that Naruto was supposed to sleep in long ago. Neither of them appeared bothered by the sudden dark clouds that blocked the moonlight outside. The gentle wind breeze gave way to strong gusts that were easily able to punish the extensive forest that surrounded the hidden village. No sooner had the wind picked up, the first few drops of water hit the residence's roof. From this point on, lightning illuminated the black skies and a torrential rain fell upon Konoha. Naruto and Yugo looked at one another for a while, both thinking about the same thing. The heavy rain outside pretty much convinced them that it would be ill-advised to go outside and towards their respective apartments, which meant that this would be their first night in the house where Naruto was supposed to grow up in. The couple looked at each other's eyes with a smile on their faces. There was no need for words. The couple started hugging and simply stood there for a while, not moving from their position. To Naruto, this very moment seemed even more special because of where they were now. Yugo felt the connection as well as she felt Naruto's lone teardrop reach her right shoulder. Are you okay? Naruto simply nodded with a smile on his face. His ocean blue eyes were even more mesmerizing when Naruto was inches away from crying. Couldn't be better actually. I finally found about my parents and you're here with me. Like I said, couldn't be better. Yugo smiled and caressed his hair for a while. So, seeing as how we will be here for the night, what do you feel like doing? Yugo asked, already knowing the answer to her question. She remembered the number of clones her boyfriend left at the library to look at everything there. She was also eager to return there and noticed some old kenjutsu styles that were lost in history. Naruto's clones were dispelling by the minute with important information that would aid Naruto greatly. The couple then marched towards the library, having to choose the top wall to walk through, since the latter was rotten due to time. Naruto needed to fix that sometime. Unfortunately, neither of them was an earth user. Yugo had water and lightning as elements, but she focused only on water elements. Once inside the library, Yugo went immediately to the sword arts section while Naruto grabbed a black scroll that was on the table. According to the memory, the scroll contained specific seals that were meant to be used in conjunction with weapons. Remembering how much of a pain it was when his staff broke in the middle of a fight or training, Naruto could really use these seals and place them on his staff to harden the metal. Naruto's clone memory was even reading on two rather interesting seals that could make his weapon not only indestructible, but also very deadly. The first one was actually a seal design created by seal masters of Uzushiogakure that were later sold to Iron Country's craftsmen in exchange for unlimited weapon supply. The kanji absorbs chakra from the weapon user in small amounts and incorporates said chakra to the metal, hardening it. The scroll said that the user needed to constantly channel chakra to the seal, but Naruto was hardly concerned about chakra shortage. Before he absorbed the fox's chakra, he already had more than most cages placed together. The other seal was actually even more interesting as it absorbed wind chakra into the weapon. This way, while in the midst of battle, Naruto would not need to focus wind chakra into the staff, since the weapon would have it already. He could use his other element at the same time. It was times such as these that Naruto appreciated Jiraya's training, as the pervert would always tell him to practice the basics of fuinjutsu. Although he knew little about the sealing arts counting the creation of explosive tags and storage seals, Naruto also knew how to draw the seal and activate it. He only needed to copy the design that appeared on the scroll. Grabbing a few blank scrolls, Naruto got to practice the seal design for a while, before he was content to try it on his staff. His mind did not necessarily understand the fundament behind these seals as Naruto's patience for such an art was small at best. He could only replicate an already created design and activate it. Once he was finished, Naruto inspected the two seals and placed the scroll near to compare the designs. This actually was the first lesson he learned from Jiraya in the sealing arts. Before activating it, always perform double checks on your work. The memory of drawing an explosive tag wrong was still fresh in his mind. Naruto, then, tried the first seal and simply molded chakra throughout the staff. The black ink of the seal started glowing with the presence of chakra and immediately absorbed it. Naruto knew that it worked as the staff was heavier all of a sudden. Now smirking at the possibility of this new staff meeting flesh, Naruto began to mold wind chakra throughout the staff, once more mesmerized as the second seal glowed as well, absorbing it. Yugo was busy checking on a rather thick book, when she suddenly felt a small wind current inside the library, but thought nothing of it and returned her focus on the book. She didn't get to see Naruto's content expression that he was able to include two new seal designs to his memory of seals. Even if Naruto had yet to learn the theory behind seals, the Chunin had something called photographic memory. He could replicate any seal after seeing it. With the staff done with, Naruto now moved on to the next set of skills, his mother's chakra chains. According to the scroll, Uzumaki Kushina's chakra had a different quality to it than the others. Her chakra was much more potent than the others, allowing her to mold it outside her body and form objects with it. The chains were actually her choice as it benefited her close-range style of fighting. The chain uses were varied, from impenetrable walls to unstoppable attacks, coming in quick succession. Naruto even saw it in action against the Kyuubi and saw how the chains were able to hold the gigantic fox. Naruto wondered if his chakra had the same qualities as his mother, seeing as he was a direct descendant of Kushina. He didn't know if Kushina was the only one in the Uzumaki clan to have this ability, but he figured that this scroll was left here for a reason, so his mother believed him capable of learning it, even if not to her level. If he ended up learning it, then Naruto will have a whole new style of fighting in close range, using both his bow staff and his mother's chains. You ignorant fool. Naruto was surprised at the voice echoing in his head, before he narrowed his eyebrows. What did you say? I don't believe I stuttered, brat. I don't believe you remember what happened when you hugged your parents. The lack of an answer received a snort from the fox. I thought so, you're right, your mother left you the scroll containing those annoying chains for you to use it. However, you couldn't hope to use the chains before her appearance inside your mindscape. Her chakra happened to be stored inside the seal holding me in captivity and was released inside your body when she appeared and saved your sorry little ass from becoming my dinner. Despite it all, Naruto had to roll his eyes at the fox's words. It appeared that the creature still wished to rile him up from time to time. So you're saying that her chakra is now a part of mine. But I don't feel any different. Why do I waste my time talking to you brainless meat sack? Since you came back after stealing my chakra, you have yet to use large amounts of your chakra. You will realize that your ninjutsu now is much more potent than before. I won't explain more, because the simple task of talking to you annoys me to no end. Naruto would have said the feeling was mutual, but he knew the fox was just repeating the same speech by riling him up. Despite it all, he felt that he should say thank you to his only inmate. I appreciate the help, furball. Naruto smiled as he heard the fox growling at the nickname. With a smile, Naruto opened his eyes and read the scroll in fine detail. He needed to first manifest the chakra chains. The scroll happened to be quite extensive as Naruto read through everything with a broad smile on his face. The writing itself was different than the other books and scrolls. Naruto now understood that he had inherited his mother's personality and even way of thinking. Naruto could practically see his mother writing all the creative uses for her chain with a predatory smirk on her face, scaring everyone around her. The Chunin even flinched once or twice as Kushina pretty much put all her experience in the scroll, detailing how she used the chains to attack men's private parts. When he finished reading through it all, Naruto felt that he knew a lot more about his mother than the time when she spoke to him inside the seal. He looked up suddenly when he heard a slight noise coming from the aisle where Yugo was currently. As soon as he got up to check on his girlfriend, Naruto smiled upon seeing that the woman was asleep right next to a huge pile of books. Poor Yugo-chan, must be exhausted, since she was still working when I called her. Naruto figured that he could leave the clones there reading the material about the chakra chains as well as advanced water manipulation exercises while he placed Yugo on a more suitable place than the floor. As far as wind was concerned, Naruto was already a master in the art, finishing the 2 steps required to complete the program. Sojiro-sensei even taught him a couple of exercises used in Suna for wind users as well. Naruto was surprised to see some material about the Nadaime Hokage's mastery of water techniques. He remembered Tsunade saying that the Senju clan was a distant cousin to the Uzumaki clan, so it made sense. Once out of the library, Naruto carried Yugo upstairs and passed by what would have been his room. He walked towards the room that was at the end of the hallway. His heart was pounding like crazy as he figured that this room belonged to his parents. Once inside, Naruto's arms almost dropped Yugo on the ground at the sight of the Yondaime's classic robe on display inside the closet. To this day, a part of Naruto, the kid that still screamed to the heavens about becoming the next Hokage, couldn't believe that his most idolized shinobi in the world happened to be his father. He quickly placed Yugo on the master bed located in the middle of the room, before covering her with the white sheets that were left there. He figured that they would be quite dirty, but he wouldn't be able to clean them now. Tomorrow, he would leave this entire house spotless as he couldn't live inside a house filled with dust. With Sasuke, Uchiha Sasuke was on the ground panting for breath right next to his brother's dead corpse. He wondered if his choice was the right one to take. The stories didn't add up, he questioned. Ever since the fateful event of his clan being murdered, Sasuke had a very firm notion of who Itachi was. Even after Tobi explained to him that Itachi did all he did to save the village, Sasuke was still skeptical about his brother being a nice guy. When they fought and Itachi demonstrated his intentions of taking his eyes, Sasuke believed that his previous conception was the right one. When the battle was over and Sasuke took a closer look to his brother's smile, he began to question everything that he believed thus far. Whatever it was, he just didn't want anything to do with the man wearing that orange mask. He needed to sort things out for himself, but he also knew that there was no safe place to hide from them. With this in consideration, Sasuke chose to head straight to the only place no one ever believed he would be right now. The secret passageway built by the Uchiha clan under their compound. The passageway was built taking everything in consideration. It wouldn't be an escape route from a hidden village, if any Earth user could sense a shinobi down here. Throughout the passageway's walls, were chakra suppressor seals that kept anyone from knowing what happened in the tunnels. Of course, it was a double-edged sword as the seals blocked the usage of chakra from the inside as well. If for instance, either Tobi or Zetsu found him here, Sasuke wouldn't be able to use chakra to save his life. Looking to his destination, Sasuke had to force his eyes a bit to see the darkened path. He remembered passing through here as a kid, so he imagined that the passageway would end in about 5 minutes at a sedate pace. Once more grabbing his brother's body and throwing it over his shoulder, Sasuke ran once more towards the end of the tunnel. The Uchiha still wondered about what would await him from the other side of the passageway, but he figured that he could mask his presence inside Konoha until he could ponder things through. Next day Naruto had awoken at his parents' room the next day with a smile on his face as the first rays of sunlight illuminated the room. As expected, Yugo was already up and about, fixing her Anbu armor. She gave one smile at him followed by a small wink, before covering her face with the Neko mask. Naruto got up as well and hugged her from behind, before Yugo could vanish in a shunshin, surprising the Anbu captain. Such display of affection surprised the woman, but she merely smiled at her boyfriend. She could feel nothing but warmth in Naruto's arms and even embraced his arms, trying to absorb as much warmth as possible from Naruto. The couple stood like this for a while, before Naruto broke the hug and took off the mask. He couldn't kiss the mask after all. It would be nice to be kissed like this every day, Naruto-kun. Naruto merely nodded, not even bothered by the indirect hint of moving together. He was thinking of asking her this anyway. It sure would, I guess that I'll be moving in here now. It would be incredible if I had your company here as well. Since the mask was off, Naruto saw the happy smile on his girlfriend's face. If Yugo had more time until she had to be at Anbu HQ, she would jump on Naruto right now. Instead, she just hugged him once more. I will, Naruto-kun. We will talk about this more later, but I certainly will. Oh, and we can also have our first run here tonight, what you say, Naruto-kun? Yugo ended the sentence whispering close to his ear. She got what she was hoping for when Naruto suddenly lost his breath at the implication. As if to give the Chunin a preview on what tonight will be like, Yugo gently pushed Naruto towards the bed while swinging her hips slowly for him to savor every moment of it. She smiled as she saw how excited her boyfriend was at her movements. When Naruto was close to the bed, Yugo placed a fierce kiss on his lips, pushing him to lie down as she was on top of him, kissing his lips and caressing his hair. Naruto was already melting in desire by now, when she left his lips and began to work the area near his ears. She even licked his neck for a while, before stopping close to his ear. A small preview, Naruto-kun. Until tonight, Naruto couldn't help but tremble at this statement as Yugo vanished in a shunshin, leaving him showing how excited he was to the room wall. Yugo left still not certain if she should have finished what she started right there. After all, her power of seduction was heavily dependent on her past experiences with Naruto and she wanted nothing more than to call in sick this morning. Naruto, for his part, concluded that the morning shower would have to be a cold one as he was scheduled to meet with his squad in half an hour for training. Like Yugo, his mind wouldn't leave him alone for a while. After the shower, Naruto got into his Chunin outfit and left the room towards the library when he believed his clones were still at it. When he got there, though, Naruto saw all his clones were reading something. The real one could see how tired they were as their eyes were slowly closing, due to the lack of chakra sustaining them for longer periods. The amusement stopped, however, when he realized the outcome of so many clones dispelling at the same time and prepared for the onslaught. Like he expected, all 10 clones vanished and the information returned to the real one. Naruto felt that each memory was like a speeding train on a collision route towards him. When the last memory came, Naruto almost fainted right there. With a nasty headache, Naruto used the desk inside the library for support, before melting on top of the chair for a while. He should have released some of the clones before going to sleep yesterday. As he massaged his temples, Naruto went through the assorted memories, hoping to catch up on what the clones were reading before being dispelled. Naruto remembered reading about water manipulation exercises in a diary of someone that accompanied Senju Tobirama during his reign as the Nadaime. He read about fuinjutsu and even techniques on how to disrupt created seals, though the clone's understanding of the material was limited. There was one clone that picked up a scroll on genjutsu for some reason. Why the heck would he be interested in genjutsu other than learning how to dispel it? It turned out that ranked illusions worked differently than lower ranked ones, in terms of chakra consumption. Naruto always had trouble with ninja arts that requires little chakra to perform. Also, higher-ranking illusions affected an entire area, as opposed to only affecting the opponent. With this knowledge, the clone even got to read on some techniques created by a woman named Senju Tuka, though Naruto didn't know who she was. Sending a wave of chakra all around him, Naruto could, for instance, with the appropriate hand seals, send everyone into a deep slumber. Author note: you all know which technique I'm talking about. Getting up from the chair, now feeling much better, Naruto left the library and walked out of the house. Quickly he created 10 clones once more and sent them to a secluded training ground and practice what they learned in the library. He wouldn't have the time to do so right now. He was a little bit late for his meeting. As he passed through the old Uchiha clan compound, Naruto saw something from the corner of his eyes that looked suspicious. The Uchiha clan grounds were abandoned ever since Sasuke left the village. There shouldn't be anyone there. Quickly approaching the walls, his eyes widened when he saw Sasuke there carrying what appeared to be Itachi's body. Sasuke appeared to be on the verge of collapsing, before he threw Itachi's corpse on the ground and collapsed as well. Naruto took 2 steps behind and summoned another clone, this time with as much chakra as if he had summoned 10 clones. Go to the meeting in my place and avoid receiving too much damage. The clone nodded, before Naruto looked at Sasuke once more. With Sasuke, as soon as Sasuke left the passageway and entered the Uchiha clan grounds, he looked around to see if someone spotted him. It appeared that no one was around as Sasuke crossed the open field towards what used to be his parents' house. Looking at it for a while, a sense of nostalgia hit the young Uchiha. He remembered his young days playing at the garden with his big brother, who happened to be on his shoulders right now. His entire face was covered with sweat as his stamina was slowly succumbing to the strain of carrying Itachi's body while at the same time escaping from Tobi and Zetsu. As soon as he opened the door to their old house, Sasuke dropped on the ground with Itachi on his shoulders. His chakra was slowly coming back to him, but he was so tired right now. Now that he managed to come here without getting noticed, Sasuke wanted nothing more than to sleep. He closed his eyes slowly and let his body fall. Imagine my surprise when I wake up this fine morning and see you here, Tem. Sasuke's eyes widened in surprise as he instinctively grabbed his kusanagi and immediately attacked Naruto. Naruto, though, parried with his staff and sent Sasuke back to the ground, panting from exertion. Sasuke looked at Naruto and cursed his presence here right now. Who would have thought that the damn Tobi would catch him of all people? A fighter he may be, and a good one at that, but Naruto was no good at sensing others. At least, not as far as Sasuke's knowledge was concerned. Relax, Tem, unlike you, I wouldn't lower myself into picking on someone who's seconds away from exhaustion. Naruto was already over the shock of seeing Itachi's dead corpse right in front of him. I see you reached your ambition. Sasuke looked at Naruto with irritation. What the hell are you talking about, Tobi? Sasuke was already formulating plans in his mind when he heard Naruto's comment. For some reason, he figured that Naruto would move to capture him. When we introduced ourselves to Kakashi-sensei, you said you didn't have a dream, but an ambition to kill a certain man. If Sasuke was surprised that Naruto remembered that, he wasn't showing it. He merely looked at his brother's dead body for a while. Naruto found it surprising that Sasuke didn't answer. Sasuke sighed in dismay and then narrowed his eyebrows, before turning abruptly to Naruto, wondering when the Tobi would move for the capture. However, Naruto just stood there unmoving, and from the look on his face, it appeared that the damn Tobi was smiling at him. To this day, he mocks me with that smile of his. Why are you just standing there? Go on, take me in custody, Tobi. Fulfill your duty as a Konoha shinobi. Unlike Sasuke expected, Naruto merely snorted. I can do that any time I want, Sasuke. If you may recall, if it wasn't for the Akatsuki, you'd be in a jail cell right now. Back then, Sasuke didn't have the Mangenkyu, but right now Sasuke doubted that Naruto showed everything he could do in that fight. Sasuke saw that Naruto was looking at Itachi, before looking back at him once more. Why did you come here, Tem, and not with Akatsuki? As usual, any conversation with Sasuke was difficult, ever since they were a part of the same genin team. However, this time, Sasuke's dismissal of his questions was not due to the Tem's act of superiority, that much he could tell. For instance, Sasuke had the same look Naruto had when he learned the truth about his parents. Moving swiftly, before Sasuke even registered, Naruto placed a hand on Sasuke's shoulder, earning the Uchiha's attention. What do you want, Tobi? If you're not going to capture me, then stop wasting my time. Naruto was serious this time. You're in doubt, aren't you, Tem? This time, Sasuke shot him a murderous look. Something wrong about your brother. You keep looking at him as if expecting an answer to something. Shut up, Tobi, you don't know what you're talking about. Naruto knew better than to even listen and simply stared at the Uchiha. I do know what I'm talking about. Just yesterday, I found out that I wasn't just a simple orphan and that I had parents who cared for me. Yesterday, I was told that the Yondaime Hokage chose me as the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, not because I happened to be born on that fateful day. Yesterday, I was told the reason why the truth was kept from me. Sasuke looked at Naruto and also saw a lot of himself in Naruto's wondering eyes. Also, if what Naruto said was true, then he too grew up with misleading information. You see, Sasuke, I understand what you're going through. In fact, now that I think about it, I believe that if given different circumstances, I could have very well become the missing nin instead of you. Sasuke's eyes widened as he looked at Naruto, wondering why he said those words right now. He wondered if he could share his questions with the Tobi. Naruto smiled as he saw that Sasuke wouldn't trust him with anything if he wasn't willing to do the same in exchange. I do know that I've given you half answers here, so I'll tell you what has happened to me. Yesterday, I was told the name of my parents. My mother was Uzumaki Kushina, heir of the now extinguished Uzumaki clan that used to reside in Whirlpool country. My father was Namikaze Minato. The name alone didn't ring any bells with Sasuke, but that only lasted for about a second, before his throat became dry. Who would have thought that the worst student in class and troublemaker was not only the last living descendant of a clan but also son of the legendary Yellow Flash of Konohagakure. Despite his first surprise, Sasuke suddenly felt like kicking himself for not seeing the resemblance. The Yondaime was your father. Naruto nodded, amused by Sasuke's sudden loss of words. One would imagine the superiority complex of being the fourth son. Yeah, he was. That was also the reason why he sealed the Kyuubi no Yoko in me, as he couldn't ask anyone to sacrifice their child for the burden. Made my live a living hell nonetheless, but that's the past really. Suddenly, the question marks in Sasuke's head about his life history vanished. Naruto kept talking, though. I was never told because my father had enemies all throughout Iwa and Kumogakure and even the other villages as well. They feared that I would suffer assassination attempts if the world found out about it. Never mind that up to yesterday, I wasn't even told about him being my father. So, without knowing anything and being led to believe otherwise, I can tell you that I know what you're going through, Tem. Sasuke found himself incapable of negating it. His head nodded by instinct. His mind was still boggled about what he had just heard. I have told you my story, Sasuke. Because of my precious people, I was able to put it behind me and became a better shinobi because of it. You're still a Tobi, though. Naruto smiled at the now non-lethal jab. He was expecting that from Sasuke. Yeah, and you're a Tem. I would have to punch you in the face if you started treating me differently. This time, Sasuke snorted. Now, what about you? Sasuke nodded at the fair game. I haven't told anyone about this, but when Itachi murdered the entire clan, he turned to me and used an S-ranked illusion called Tsukuyomi, granted to him by the Mangenkyu Sharingan. He said to me that I wasn't worth killing and told me to hate him, and only when my hatred was strong enough, could I kill him. I did just that, training every day with the memory of Itachi saying these words to me. My hatred for him became second nature to me, and it has sheltered me throughout the hardships in my life. My preconception of him changed when we fought and the Akatsuki rescued me. Itachi was actually ordered to kill the Uchiha clan by the Sandaime Hokage. Now it was Naruto was speechless. The Sandaime wasn't his favorite person at the moment, since it was he who decided against telling Naruto about his parents. But outright ordering Itachi to kill the clan was too much. The clan was planning to revolt against the village, and it would lead to a civil war if nothing was done. The Sandaime Hokage, I believe, tried to negotiate, but he wasn't able to avoid it. The only way to avoid the death of many was to kill the Uchiha clan, and Itachi was the one to do it, knowing that he would be branded as a criminal for life. At the time, I was downright furious at Konoha and wanted nothing more than to see it burn to the ground. Naruto nodded at the thought, too engrossed to realize what Sasuke meant by this. Sasuke also was lost in his mind to realize that he had just confessed his previous intentions of destroying the village to a Konoha ninja. I found Itachi hoping to settle everything with him about what happened. However, as soon as he heard what I had to say, he surprised me by saying that he had personally volunteered to kill the Uchiha clan. We fought soon afterward and I won, but his last words to me were that he was sorry for everything he had done to me and hoped that I would forgive him. Naruto found himself respecting Itachi now that he realized the truth behind it all. Sasuke couldn't have, because he was so lost in hatred, but Naruto understood. I know you probably won't like this, but I find myself respecting the damn bastard even more now. Sasuke looked at Naruto, threatening to kill him for his words. Say it one more word and I'll kill you, Tobi. Itachi murdered my entire clan. Naruto nodded. From what you said, Itachi volunteered to kill the Uchiha clan, but I believe he didn't do it out of some evil intent, but rather to avoid bloodshed in the village. And when you came and told him what you wished to do, he knew what he had to do to take away your hatred for Konoha and focus it entirely on him. Sasuke looked at the Tobi for a while and then towards the man who killed his clan. Could it be that Itachi was actually focusing the clan's bad history on him and him alone? Itachi used the threat of capturing Sasuke's eyes to lure his hatred away from Konoha and focus only on him. For what purpose, though? To protect Konohagakure. Naruto saw Sasuke's puzzled expression and concluded. Your brother was a hero, Sasuke, and he even protected you from all of this bad blood history. Naruto simply nodded at the conclusion and gave his back to Sasuke. I don't know what you wish to do from now on. However, you came here, so I believe you found Konoha to be a safe haven for you right now. I recommend you do it yourself. Who knows, perhaps the Godime will be lenient regarding this issue. There really was nothing for Naruto to do there, since it was clear that Sasuke needed some time alone. He would leave a clone here just in case the temp tried something funny once more. What he could do, though, was talk to a special someone who would be interested in knowing what just happened right now. Naruto stopped for a second to receive the memory from the clone he sent in his place to train with his new squad. It was good that he was going to meet this person anyhow. He knew that Jiraiya would see past his clone, because unlike the real one, the clone had the tendency of dodging strikes rather than meeting the threat head-on. What was surprising was actually how long it took for Jiraiya to realize that the real Naruto was not among them. Either the pervert had lost his touch or Naruto had gotten better at fooling others. Either way, Naruto was not keen on waiting for an Anbu to come and summon him to the Hokage's office. Hokage's office Quickly getting inside the building and into Tsunade's office, Naruto was not surprised to see Kakashi and Jiraiya there as well. He also noticed a certain purple-haired Anbu hiding on the shadows and wondered why Yugao's team was chosen to protect the Hokage. Protecting the Hokage was the job of a select team that would never leave the Hokage's side. Somehow, his actions worried his girlfriend as well. Naruto's mind could venture a guess as to what was passing through her mind right now, since she was sending a little bit of killing intent his way. He actually felt insulted at the accusation. You came here rather quickly, Naruto. I was just telling an Anbu to come get you. Naruto smiled at the people present. They seemed pissed at him right now. Yeah, I figured that Ero-sensei wouldn't be tricked by my clone, though I was surprised it took him this long. Jiraiya frowned at the joke, but contrary to Naruto's stipulations, he did not join in. Okay, I won't beat around the bush here. I happened to find an interesting someone this morning that warranted my undivided attention. As expected, he felt Yugao's killing intent risen, making him rather uncomfortable right now. He could feel her sword practically scratching his jugular right now. After leaving my parents' house, I passed through the old Uchiha compound and I was surprised to find the one and only Uchiha Sasuke walking out of some hidden passageway carrying a dead Uchiha Itachi on his shoulder. The silence that fell on the room was enough for Naruto to hear his own breathing. It was certainly a relief as Yugo was simply too stunned at the revelation to be mad at him. Care to repeat that, Naruto? I would believe that one of my Chunin would have reported this instantly, so that we could apprehend Sasuke. Tsunade was looking at him with quite an intimidating stare. Yeah, I really should have done that, huh? I was shocked at first to see him here in Konoha and even more shocked to see a dead Itachi with him as well. The stares have not diminished, so he believed it was wise to dissuade them of their worry. Relax, I have placed a clone to keep Sasuke some company. I was actually about to come here and report the interesting conversation I had with him when I received the clone's memory. Naruto then proceeded to tell the ones present about his conversation with Sasuke, especially the part when Naruto revealed an S-ranked secret to a missing nin. Naruto explained that he had to give something for Sasuke to trust him, so he did not regret it. In the end, Naruto was able to hear 6 sighs at the same time. He recognized 4 of them, coming from the Hokage, Jiraiya, Kakashi and Yugo. The other 2, he guessed, came from the rest of the Anbu's team. In reality, they were like Yugao's family, so they knew a lot about whom their captain was dating. In all honesty, they should not be surprised. What am I going to do with you, Naruto? Tsunade was massaging her temples right now, meaning that he gave her another headache. People were actually counting how many and betting at Tsunade's breaking point. Well, figuring as I was able to extract a lot of information out of Sasuke, I figure I could get away with not reporting his presence in Konoha. Anyway, I was hoping to ask if we could work something out for the Tem. I bet that he would be a great advantage against the likes of Akatsuki. The ones present were already aware of what the Chunin was hoping for. However, simply relying on the traitor was such a far-fetched idea that Tsunade wondered how long it would take for the Raikage to explode on her, saying how she ever thought the alliance could rely on traitors. There was simply no way Tsunade could allow Sasuke to fight alongside them. Simply not throwing him into jail was giving him too much already. Naruto, I know you wish to believe in Sasuke being an ally, but Tsunade was already speaking when Naruto interrupted her. It's nothing like that, actually. I know that Sasuke is strong and can give Akatsuki a run for their money. I was not aiming for simply forgiving his sins. I have been looking into some scrolls in my parents' home since yesterday and I found an interesting seal, called the slave seal. This seal links Sasuke's chakra to another person. This other person has ultimate control over Sasuke's chakra, allowing the person to stop Sasuke's chakra flow completely. If Sasuke ever decides to escape or harm either one of us, we can use the seal and block him from using chakra. Jiraya knew about this seal. It was created by the Uzumaki clan to use in prisoners, though the one he remembered working closer to its name. The prisoner was stripped completely of his or her chakra and any attempt to override the seal would cause unbearable pain. He could see where Naruto was coming from, but even so he believed that Sasuke did not deserve to be anywhere except behind bars for what he had done. Even if Sasuke could help against the organization, it wouldn't bode well with the alliance if Konoha showed such leniency towards criminals. Naruto nodded, realizing the situation. I see, though we could ask their opinion. I happen to know that the slave seal can be used by more than one person, so if I say for instance that both Jiraiya and Kakashi-sensei controls Sasuke, then we have nothing to worry about. Tsunade pondered for a while, when the door suddenly opened. The Raikage and the Kazekage had just entered her office, for their meeting prior to the battle. The party from Konoha would not put it past them that both cages overheard their conversation. Naruto, how strong is this seal you had just described? Gaara asked, while the Raikage just crossed his arms. Tsunade would be remiss if she did not show her protest. Kazekage Dono, Uchiha Sasuke is a wanted criminal of Konoha, we can't expect to simply pardon him and allow him free roam. Gaara was stoic as usual, but only nodded at Tsunade's protest. I and Raikage Dono understand that Hokage Dono, however we agree with Naruto. We need the best of the best and Sasuke no doubt has the power to back them into a corner. If what Naruto said was right and the slave seal could be applied to more than one person, we can create measures to keep Sasuke from doing anything that could harm the villages and the alliance. He could be in Jiraiya-sama's team as his fire techniques together with Naruto and Jukazi's wind techniques would be unstoppable. The seal can be applied to both Jiraiya and Naruto. Tsunade still looked like she wanted to protest, but her only worry was now non-existent as the alliance had decided as such, not Konoha alone. Okay then, Uchiha Sasuke will be a part of Jiraiya's squad, though I will personally see if both seals are perfectly aligned here. Naruto nodded, satisfied with the answer. Naruto, what about the clone keeping tabs with Sasuke? So far, nothing has happened. He keeps dispelling himself before summoning other Bunshin to send me information. Sasuke was very exhausting when he arrived. He is now asleep inside his old house. Tsunade nodded, before sending Jiraiya and Naruto to bring Sasuke here for the sealing procedure. Seeing as Sasuke was out like a light, it wouldn't be hard to give him a sedative and work on the seal. Naruto needed Sasuke to fight alongside them, but at least they had a backup plan if the Uchiha became difficult about this. In no time, the deed was done as Sasuke's exhausted frame didn't even register what happened to him, as he was sound asleep. The only pain in the ass was that Naruto took some time convincing everyone that Itachi's body would have to remain there, or else Sasuke would suspect that something wrong happened. The next day Naruto was busy doing some training with his staff, going through the katas he had practiced since he left with Jiraiya on his training trip. He had to fight all his urges not to use his mother's chains right now, because he was afraid that someone would see him use it. He wanted it to be a secret for now and use it as a surprise attack when the timing was right. Aside from the chains, Naruto's ninjutsu had improved greatly, because of the exercises he found inside the library. He now had more control over his water element. He couldn't replicate the Nadime's level, of course, but he managed a level of control that he wasted very little chakra and still packed quite a water punch. The library also contained some nice evasive water techniques like the Mizu Bunshin and the Mizu Kawarimi that Naruto now could use. It always irked him when S-ranked opponents played with their opponents, by using these low-ranked techniques. Now he understood why, as it actually requires very little chakra and still keep up the threat. Last but not least was his ability to replicate the knowledge of seals located in the library. The seal placed on Sasuke was spot on and even a seal master such as Jiraiya was impressed at the attention to detail. Sasuke now was linked both him and the perverted Sannin. Jiraiya had even given the idea of placing a tracking seal on Sasuke, should the elusive Uchiha escape from their grasp. It happened to be one more seal that Naruto learned as he observed the pervert's work of art. Naruto was beginning to believe that learning the theory behind his work wasn't such a bad idea after all. He stopped his movements as he heard steps from behind. This training ground happened to be close to the Uchiha compound, so Sasuke wouldn't risk his exposure by coming here. Good morning, Tem. Had a good night's sleep. Sasuke frowned as he made his presence known to Naruto. When he woke up this morning, Sasuke was unnerved as nothing seemed out of place. What did you do, Tobi? Naruto looked at him with a curious look. Whatever do you mean, Tem? I didn't do anything, other than let you sleep. Sasuke frowned once more. I'm not stupid like you, Tobi. I know that everything is in place and that's precisely why I know that you did something. Naruto smirked at the accusation, but Sasuke didn't have anything to accuse him of. I knew you're too paranoid, Sasuke, but I didn't do anything. Now, seeing as you are up and full of strength, I was hoping to talk to you about something important. Sasuke crossed his arms, allowing Naruto to continue. Somehow, Naruto thought he would listen to more taunting, but shrugged it off. Akatsuki has remained active for far too long now and we are moving to put an end to them. Konoha, Kumo and Tsunade have formed an alliance to send the village's best against them and we can surely use your help in defeating them. I know that if we fought them together, we can surely kick some S-ranked ass. What do you say? Sasuke kept looking at Naruto with stoic expression on his face as he pondered on the thought. Surely, his past actions wouldn't be that easily forgiven by the Hokage, so Sasuke was skeptical about the entire thing. I defected, Tobi. You want me to believe that Konoha would accept me back with open arms. Should your efforts in defeating Akatsuki suffice, as the Godime Hokage, I can take it into consideration and give you a lighter sentence, Sasuke. The sudden appearance of the Godime Hokage surprised Sasuke, since he was hiding his presence perfectly. There was only one way that she would know he was there and that happened to be the reason Naruto was smiling at him now. Sasuke snorted at such betrayal, but then he really shouldn't judge, seeing as he did the same thing 4 years ago. Now extending his senses, he could spot the Anbu team hiding in the shadows, as well as 4 strong presences surrounding him. He turned to the Hokage. Next. What happens if I decline? Tsunade smiled dangerously at the kid Uchiha. You really don't want to know, kid. Suffice to say that we know 2 certain individuals that would love to get to know you better. Sasuke was clueless about the identities of these 2, but the hidden Anbu weren't. Certainly Anko and Ibiki would love to have a go with Sasuke in reference to the secrets he learned while in Akatsuki and Orochimaru's presence. Sasuke turned to think for a while, before looking at the Tobi to see that he was still smiling at him as if he already knew his answer. Tem, ever since we became genin, you're dying for some action. Now you're hesitating in fighting against S-ranked opponents. What happened to that Tem who wouldn't back down from any challenge? Sasuke couldn't help but snort at the question, but everyone was surprised to see a small amount of humor in Sasuke's response. If you are able to face them, Tobi, then these guys may not be as tough as they sound. I'm in. Author note OK, who believed that Sasuke would return, huh? Now that he is once more a ninja for Konoha, we move forward to the final confrontation between Akatsuki and the Alliance. I know that is a relatively short chapter, but it served merely to settle the Sasuke issue. Any thoughts? Complaints? Curses? I'm all ears here. See ya. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for more what ifs and support the author. See you guys in the next video.